Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Today I've got another top 5 for you, and it's going to be the 5 games that I wish I had recorded back when I wasn't thinking about actually reviewing and playing games properly. This is actually a horrible look at the funny stuff that I could have captured, but can't now. So it's actually going to hurt me inside a little bit, actually doing this, because the 5 games that I have are fantastic multiplayer and single player titles that are endlessly amusing and stupid if you capture the right moments. And while that applies to a lot of other things, some are stupider than others. Skyrim, Battlefield, Fallout. It's that kind of mentality that really brings out how stupid things can get. For example, we were sat there on a Battlefield 3 map doing Bane impressions for an entire game, and we won against a team while we were 200 tickets down. I wish I had footage of that. It was hilarious, and it was one of those things where you had to go, you had to be there. But still, it was brilliant. So, here's my top 5. Enjoy. Skyrim on day 1 is something that I really wish I'd had footage of, because it was me sat there for about 11 hours on the day of release just playing the thing. And from then on, it stuck with me. That sense of adventure and that sense of wandering stuck with me. Even though the game's nearly 5 years old, it's nearly half a decade old, it never fails to entertain me whenever I come back to it. And I really wish that I had recorded those first maybe about 24 hours, simply because it was that sense of wonder and, oh my god, this is gorgeous, that you really got when you were walking around Skyrim. It was just beautiful and immersive, and I didn't want to stop playing the thing, and that's why I enjoyed it so much. But because all the mods and the actual community on the PC itself, it's really killed that new vibe, which is really unfortunate. But that doesn't mean that I'm not going to record it. It's just that I wish I had first run footage, simply because it would have been much funnier, judging by the fact I died about 10 times to the same dragon first time round. Dark Souls is a legendarily difficult game that is known by just about everyone and their mother. And doing a first run of that game when you've never played anything else of that genre or something of that difficulty when you're only about 16 years old is quite difficult. And it was difficult for me. I absolutely hated Blighttown, to the point where I stopped playing the game for a solid 2 months before I came back to the thing to try and get through the goddamn area. I struggled so much with dealing with toxic poison, ladders, ropes, enemies that could hit you through walls, and navigating the terrain. I couldn't do it, and I desperately wish I had my reaction to it, because it was absolutely glorious and infuriating. For me, it was absolutely horrifying, but I'm sure for someone else watching, you'd be getting an absolute giggle out of it, because it's just that sort of difficulty where you have to learn and look logically at things. I'm okay with it now, I know the route like that, but my original playthrough of the game was nothing short of diabolical, because I couldn't play it. I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know what was around that next corner. I couldn't guess what was going to happen next, and I was permanently turtling, which didn't help when enemies can actually punch through shields. So, there's that. I really wish that I had footage of that, because I attempted my first ever run. I did actually attempt to use a greatsword, and I neglected to level up my dexterity. So for about 2.5 hours, I was wandering around with a weapon that was dealing about 30 damage, which is less than your fists in the game. So yeah, that didn't really go as planned. Portal 2 is a fantastic game, and it's incredibly amazing how they managed to amp up the level of difficulty from the first game, which was incredibly difficult. They added a multiplayer into Portal 2 that basically meant you can go and experience this hatred with someone that you like. This ended up with me and a friend sat in several chambers trying to figure out what to do next for the best part of maybe about 2 hours. And it was just... I wish desperately that I had the conversation between me and him. Simply because it went along the lines of, can you please fire me from the ceiling? I can't quite get to the ceiling. We'll jump then. There's no platform. We'll fire yourself. We can't fire each other, remember? And that sort of back and forth for about an hour before realising that the switch was over there and we could jump over there to get to there. Yeah, it was bad. We were a bit dense, to say the least. Much like number 4 with my Dark Souls first run, I desperately want back the footage of me playing Fallout 3 for the first time. And I know that there's a Bethesda theme here with the RPGs and the adventuring stuff, but that's because RPGs are inherently good to play for the first time, because you don't know what to expect, you don't know how big the world is, you don't know what's around the next corner, and you certainly don't understand how caps work. And when I first played the game back in 2011 maybe, I was a bit dense. I'm not proud to say this, I just wasn't that good with my common sense. And yeah, I really suffered on that game. I really struggled with managing caps and ammunition until I found the difficulty setting, at which point I didn't turn it down because I felt like that would be cheating somewhat. But actually venturing across the wasteland and finding all those new things and finding something a little bit creepy and a bit interesting, like a skeleton with a gun near it or a magazine or an abandoned bunker, that would have been fantastic, because it's that wonder that you get occasionally in games, mostly if you're a small child, but sometimes when you're a bigger child. It's that sense of, oh my god, this is really cool. And Fallout 3 had so many of those moments which, you know, I want back, really. And without a shadow of a doubt, ladies and gentlemen, number 1 has to be Battlefield 3. It's one of the best multiplayer games that I've ever played, and just a bit higher than Halo Reach, both of which I put so many hours into. But Battlefield 3 wins because of the sheer amount of stupidity that would occur in every single game that you played if you partnered up with a squad of your friends. And I cannot stress this enough, that playing multiplayer games, shooters, whatever else, with mates is 1,000 times more amusing than playing it on your own. Squadding up on Battlefield 3 meant you had 4 people in a squad, and it also meant that you had about 6 people in Xbox Live Party and those 2 poor guys who were stuck in a squad with people who were sat on the ground doing this with LMGs. But it really led to some of the best moments I've ever seen, experienced in video gaming, because it was just that sense of pure and utter confusion as you see a helicopter flying backwards into the enemy base, crashing, and then 2 people getting out of it as if nothing happened. And then the 2 people get shot by your mate on the ridge who sat there with a rifle. But it also led to things like creeping into the enemy spawn, planting C4 on the helicopter, lying in wait, and then blowing that up. Stuff like that can't be replicated, and it really bugs me that it can't be replicated, because I want those moments back. As I mentioned, we were sat there doing Bane voices. We sat there on a server where someone got a 50 kill streak in a tank and nobody stopped him except for us, who were just sat there with RPGs going, yeah, you can't get us. That cannot be replaced, and it really, really irritates me that I can't get those moments back. But equally so, those are mine, and they are fantastic and eternal. So thank you so much for watching my top 5 games that I wish I'd recorded. I will see you in the next video.